Cream Ale on Sale by Sam Qualiana. Harry and Randy began their habitual weekend plans as they consistently did every week, in their commonly boring small-town lives. The agenda meticulously strategized beers at Russell's Tavern Saturday night, followed by the usual fishing trip to Tonawanda Creek Sunday morning. Customarily frugal with his money, Harry won $50 on a scratch-off ticket early Saturday morning. Though it wasn't a massive payout for most, Harry felt like a man who'd won the jackpot and was ready to splurge tonight. Being the responsible young men they were, Harry and Randy arranged for Harry's younger sister, Veronica, to drop them off at the bar. How they planned to get home was still up for debate, this being a common activity which more often than not resolved in a diverse conclusion of somewhat epic proportions. Though it's been said on numerous occasions, their recollections may be, if not all too typically, slightly exaggerated. They arrived at Russell's promptly at 9:00 p.m., just in time for the dart league to end and the local dive to dwindle to the usual handful of regulars populating the bar stools. The gentlemen parked themselves in their respectable chairs, happy and optimistic to be greeted by their favorite bartender, Lizzie. Being a man of tradition and repetition, Randy ordered his typical light beer with an order of cheesy fries. Harry, however, was the polar opposite. A man of adventure and uncertainty, he stared at the drink specials, pondering the experiments his taste buds would partake in. One particular deal stopped him in his tracks, halting his wandering eyes in an instant.
Cream ale on sale?
He muttered.
$1.25? My God, they're giving it away.
What are you going on about?
Randy asked in confusion.
Lizzie, pour me a glass of your cream ale on special. And keep 'em coming. I'm getting saucy tonight.
Harry ordered confidently, removing a crisp $50 bill from his wallet.
You got it, Harry.
The barkeep laughed.
Oh no, dude.
Randy scoffed.
You're gonna get the cream screams. Or do they call it the cream streams? I forget.
What are you talking about? They wouldn't sell it if that actually happened.
Considering how cheap it is, I fear for you even more.
It's just a sale.
Randy faced the bartender.
Lizzie, why is the cream ale on sale?
He sternly questioned.
Russell said to get rid of it. I think it goes bad by tomorrow.
See, Harry? Even Lizzie is warning you.
Lizzie shrugged her shoulders, sliding Harry his first pint. Harry took a large sip of the cream ale, letting it pour down his gullet. He smiled, wiping the foam from his upper lip.
Tastes fine to me.
I don't know if I should consider you brave or stupid,
Randy muttered. So the night continued and the drinks were plentiful. By closing time, Harry consumed 7 pints of cream ale. More than any night at Russell's prior, he was remarkably drunk. Tonight was one for the record books. After paying their tab, palpably embarrassed by his hammered companion, Randy carried Harry to a cab.
If he pukes, you pay extra, buddy.
The driver threatened, unamused by Harry's state of intoxication.
You're a good guy. I like you.
Harry garbled, tapping the back of the driver's seat. Randy pulled Harry away, straightening him up and buckling him in.
Sorry, man. He got a little carried away tonight.
Randy explained.
Cream ale was on sale.
Harry exclaimed.
You got drunk on cream ale? Oh man, you're in for the shits tomorrow. Good luck with that, buddy.
The driver chuckled.
Why does everyone keep saying that?
Harry whispered in a drunken stupor, spitting as he slurred. The driver dropped Harry off first. Randy was kind enough to walk him into his apartment before hastily returning to his ride with the running meter. Harry stumbled into his bedroom, losing articles of clothing throughout the apartment on the way to his twin-sized bed. He plopped face first in a horizontal position onto the mattress, falling to sleep mere seconds after impact. When Harry awoke, the room spun like a wild ride at a carnival. He groaned, straining his aching head, which seemed home to a double bass drum of pressure, thumping at a nauseating rate over and over again. Harry felt a gurgle in his stomach, which tickled a warming sensation from his chest to his throat. He loudly bellowed as if warning the toilet he was en route. Still immensely drunk from an obscene quantity of cream ale in his stomach, Harry bolted for the bathroom. Harry tumbled through the doorway, knocking a picture frame off the wall on the way inside the bathroom. He stuck his head inside the toilet and, without hesitation, relinquished the contents of his stomach into the porcelain bowl, splashing questionable liquids back at himself. Harry yelled into the ivory throne, wondering whether or not he flushed after his last visit to the lavatory. I will never again let the yellow mellow, he thought. The second wave of vomit exited his body, only this time he strained harder in an effort to remove it entirely, thus causing a catastrophic effect on his intestines, which led to a rumbling in his pants and an unfortunate splosh of diarrhea exiting his rear end.
Can this get any worse?
he cried, wiping snot from his nose onto the back of his hand. Harry removed everything from the waist down, throwing it directly in the garbage can next to the sink. He sat on the toilet, continuing to extract soupy waste from his bowels. Harry sobbed, now regretting ever partaking in the cream ale sale. He gave himself a courtesy flush as the splashing continued from below. Now feeling more nauseous due to the aroma in the air, Harry had no choice but to puke again. In fear of removing his bum from the toilet, he grabbed a hold of the trash can that was host to his messy pants. Harry vomited inside the can, caressing it between his legs while simultaneously pooping with the force of a pressure washer. This rotation of separation from bodily fluids continued for another 30 minutes or so, until Harry nearly fell asleep hugging the trash can. He lifted his head in a way that made the pain surge throughout his entire body, causing him to almost faint from the pain. He longed for a glass of water to rehydrate his aching husk, but alas, rising to the sink would require immense effort, which he feared would lead to his demise. Harry sat for another 10 minutes on the ivory throne, hearing quite softly in the distance 2 individuals arguing in the hallway about something they'd heard on the news. The neighbors entered their apartment, ending what he could listen to of their conversation. It was enough to tickle Harry's curiosities. He stumbled for his phone and began browsing the local news site. He played a video matching the description of their discussion, and with the clumsiness of a drunken fool, he dropped the phone in the trash can currently sitting before him. Harry let out a long groan, watching the muffled video play under a pool of human waste.
Sightings of the beast, which one local man described as a swamp bear, have been occurring in the area since 8 o'clock tonight. We warn everyone to remain in their homes until the authorities and animal control handle the situation.
The news reporter said before the cell phone died from being submerged in liquid. Harry groaned, reaching his hand in the trash can to retrieve his phone. In doing so, he dropped the can, spilling its contents onto the bathroom floor. Harry sat in defeat, staring at the awful mess surrounding him. He really outdid himself this time. Harry tried to power up his phone, but it no longer worked, to his dismay. He tossed it aside, placing both hands on his face. He rubbed his temples, trying to relieve some pain from his headache. Harry heard a loud crash from down the hall, followed by muffled screams and the sounds of slamming doors. He lifted his head, only to feel a crippling, throbbing pain that made him dizzy. Harry swore to himself he'd never felt so horrible in his life. The self-inflicted pain brought upon by the cream ale on sale was unlike anything he'd endured prior to this moment. A heavy pounding came from the entrance to his apartment, followed by a series of scratching and sniffing noises. Could it be? The monster from the news was right at his door.
Swamp bear,
he whispered to himself. The pounding grew louder and then a crash. He heard the door splinter and thud against his carpeted floors. The sniffing intensified, drawing closer to the half-naked man, defenseless on his toilet. The bathroom door was wide open. He couldn't reach it to close without standing up. So he did. Harry slipped on the vomit-soaked floor, landing chest first onto the ground. His headache intensified, sending a shockwave of pain to his eyes, causing bright white lights to blind him temporarily. When he came to his senses, Harry looked up to see a large green and black beast on all fours in the hallway leading to the bathroom. The monster was unlike anything he'd seen before. Its webbed paws drew closer, revealing dark red eyes and a large snout. The beast had long, mossy hair sticking out like a messy bush. It growled at Harry, showing a mouth full of jagged teeth and tusks. The creature sniffed the air again, shaking off the stink from the bathroom with a huff. Harry was helpless, laying ass up with an unwiped bare butt. He was embarrassed, imagining they'd find him dead in this state of disarray. He slowly stood up, bearing all to the swamp beast. The creature lunged forward, and Harry fell back into the bathtub, hitting his head on the wall behind him. The beast slipped in his puke, landing headfirst into the toilet. The swamp bear stood up, shaking wildly in disgust. Losing its footing again, it fell on its hind end. The beast stood wide-eyed, shaking its head violently, trying to remove the waste that now covered its face. The monster whimpered a shrill cry and lunged back towards the hallway in retreat. Slipping on the picture frame Harry knocked down prior to their engagement. The beast slammed headfirst into the wall, leaving an imprint of its face from Harry's liquid feces. It regained footing and fled the apartment, whining the whole way out. Somehow, in the most defenseless state imaginable, Harry managed to ward off the beast without lifting anything more than a toilet seat. He guffawed in amazement from his bathtub, quickly interrupted by the throbbing in his head. Harry had little proof of the encounter, aside from the damage to his apartment and a fecal-stained imprint of the monster's head on his wall. Yet, even though his recollection of the creature may have been exaggerated due to his state of mind during the event, he still swears to this day it wasn't a bear that broke into his apartment and tried to kill him that Sunday morning. It was something entirely monstrous beyond imagination. Some believe the story is entirely made of fiction, from a regular at a bar who merely craves attention. After all, it's been said on numerous occasions that Harry's recollections may be, if not all too typically, slightly exaggerated. That didn't stop their favorite beer maiden Lizzie from framing a photo of the impression of the monster's face and a newspaper clipping about the sightings over the cash register at Russell's Tavern.